On July 15th, democracy won in Turkey. On the 15th of July 2016, members of a group affiliated with the FETÖ terrorist organization that had insinuated itself within the Turkish armed forces attempted to stage a coup d'etat. This push was thwarted by army officers who stood firm against the plotters, the stalwart resistance of the police force, the reclaiming of the streets by the Turkish people, and the decisive stance of the President of Turkey and the Prime Minister of the Turkish government. Democracy was the winner in Turkey. What happened on July 15th? Members of the FETÖ terrorist organization closed off the Bosphorus bridges, opened fire on civilians with snipers and tank shells. They assaulted with guns the hotel in Marmaris where Mr. Tayyip Erdoğan, President of the Republic of Turkey, was staying. They bombed the Turkish parliament 4 times with F-16 fighter jets. They organized a bomb attack on the presidential complex. They raided the Turkish Radio and Television National Broadcast Corporation and CNN too, and they halted broadcasting. They raided the Turkish telephone and internet provider company, Türk Telekom, and satellite TV network Digiturk buildings, stopped broadcasts and bombed the Turkish satellite company Turksat. They took the chief of the general staff of the Turkish armed forces and some force commanders hostage. The aide-de-camp of the chief of the general staff took his commander hostage. They attacked the National Intelligence Organization. They planned an attack on Ankara General Directorate of Security. They opened fire on civilians in front of the general staff of the Republic of Turkey and killed many innocent people. They organized raids on the Istanbul Atatürk and Sabiha Gökçen airports and closed them off, occupied the control towers and instituted a flight ban. They clashed with security forces in many regions and killed innocents. How was the coup prevented? The public went out on the streets to resist the coup as soon as they became aware of the coup attempt. Tayyip Erdoğan, President of the Republic of Turkey, and the Prime Minister, Binali Yıldırım, called on the public with their statements broadcasted live to occupy squares and airports.
Doğrusu bir kalkışma ihtimali üzerinde duruyoruz. Belli ki emir komuta zinciri olmadan asker içerisindeki bazı kişilerin kanunsuz bir eylemi söz konusu.
Bu gelişme gerçekten silahlı kuvvetlerimizin içerisindeki bir azınlığın ne yazık ki kalkınma hareketidir. Milletimizi illerimizin meydanlarına davet ediyorum, havalimanlarına davet ediyorum ve milletçe meydanlarda, havalimanında toplanalım ve bunların o azınlık grubu tanklarıyla, toplarıyla gelsinler, ne yapacaklarsa halka orada yapsınlar. Halkın gücünün üstünde bir güç ben tanımadım bugüne kadar.
Hepimiz tek vücut olarak demokrasinin yanındayız.
Opposition party leaders released statements condemning the coup.
Sadece CHP'lilerin, sadece AKP'lilerin veya MHP'lilerin değil, bütün vatandaşlar olarak hepimizin ortak görevi.
Askeri darbe girişimi hamdolsun başarıya ulaşamamıştır.
Meclisimizde bulunan tüm siyasi parti gruplarının darbe girişimine ortak bir tavır ve ortak bir dille karşı durmaları tarihidir, değerlidir, tarihe geçecek.
the nation united as one against the coup, without any regard for political stance and ideology, blocking the path of the tanks. The Turkish armed forces resisted the coup with its highest command echelon at the forefront, followed by many of its other elements. Through investigations carried out by security forces and public prosecutors, it was determined that the putschists, who were captured after all of these events, received their orders from the FETÖ terrorist organization under the leadership of Fethullah Gulen. Who is Fethullah Gulen, and what is the magnitude of the malicious plan of his FETÖ terrorist organization in Turkey? With the ultimate aim of taking over the state, Fethullah Gulen, in 1965, in the guise of a preacher, laid the foundations of his illegal organization by spreading agitation propaganda, using the magazine he published under the name of Sızıntı. In the following years, by forming close ties with the politicians in power, he managed to infiltrate into all of the government institutions. By inserting his staff, principally in the Turkish armed forces, the Turkish National Police, the Turkish Judiciary, and the Ministry of National Education, he saw no harm in stealing the questions of exams required for entry into the said institutions. The organization members hid themselves through deception in these institutions where they have nested. In order to achieve its subversive aims of spreading its influence in the media industry, the FETÖ organization set up TV channels, radios, published daily newspapers, weekly and monthly magazines. In the business world, it established national and international organizations, foundations, and NGOs. Fethullah Gulen terrorist organization set up cells within state institutions, pressured those of opposing opinions and those who did not follow their instructions by using violence and mobbing. In February 2014, the terrorist organization incited attempted unlawful acts against the government, using its influence in the judiciary and the security forces. With the decision of the National Security Council, Fethullah Gulen and his partisans were declared to be a terrorist organization. Subsequently, the government started its campaign against FETÖ terrorist organization, using all lawful means. Between the years 2014 to 2016, investigations undertaken with the full adherence to the law have taken place on every state employee found to have ties to the cited FETÖ terrorist organization, and as a result, a considerable amount of evidence has surfaced. The members of the FETÖ terrorist organization inside the Turkish armed forces, made up of a small malicious group outside of the Turkish armed forces chain of command, who knew that they would soon be discharged, attempted one last strike on July 15th. The preventative measures taken after July 15th, within the framework of secularism, democracy, and the rules of universal law. During the coup attempt for 23 hours, FETÖ terrorist organization members, using hijacked helicopters, planes, and tanks, killed more than 200 innocents, among them the civilians and security forces resisting the coup. Since July 16th, the arrest of putschists who surrendered or were caught took place with the decision of the public prosecutors. No arrests took place outside of the rules of law. Some attorneys, judges, and prosecutors within the judiciary system, again with the demand of authorized prosecutors, have been dismissed or suspended lawfully. Chancellors, deans, and academicians who have been identified as FETÖ terrorist organization members, with the permission of authorized institutions and within the frame of law, have been dismissed or suspended until the investigation is complete. Institutions of private education under the control of the FETÖ terrorist organization, while constituting a considerable section of its source of income, were turned over to the management of the Ministry of National Education thus making these institutions open to all the public. This change in management was achieved strictly in adherence to the rule of law. Companies, foundations and NGOs determined to have ties to the FETÖ terrorist organization and who support the organization economically have been put under investigation. On Wednesday, July 20th, with the recommendation of the National Security Council, the government declared a 3-month state of emergency. The state of emergency gives the legal administration many authorizations. However, the government has announced it will not be using most of these authorizations. Restrictions in the areas of freedom or the violation of human rights are out of the question. The government has emphasized that economic intervention will not take place in any form. The state of emergency will not affect the daily life of our citizens.
Milletimizle beraber büyük bir belayı Allah'a şükür def ettik.